No. Oh, what do you guys think? Would it be crazy? Like, it's Friday, the game's on Sunday. And just hear me out on this. What if we talked about, for the first time all week, the Minnesota Vikings? No?
Maybe later.
If
Tua or Teddy is out of protocol, or is either one on the cusp of exiting concussion protocol?
I mean, I just do what I'm told. And one thing that I know for sure is coaches don't clear for protocol. So right now they're still in it. I think which I believe is normal, but they tell me and then I react. So the plan is by tomorrow, if Teddy's not cleared, then we'll have to elevate Reed. If Teddy is cleared, he'll be the backup quarterback, and that's about all that I have with that.
How much work did Teddy get? We know, I guess it's a 30-minute window he can work.
Yeah, no, you get a couple reps, but what he did do is he had a couple reps. He'll get more today, even though half the, he'll get more today. But what he has done is he's become one of the most diligent note takers on the entire team, and he's pretty locked in to the. We do this fun game during practice where I'll say the formation of the play. And you guys watch the games. We have a lot of formations. We move a lot. And he can guess the play out of the, I don't know, 120 plays that he has at his disposal. So he's got a lot. That was the issue. He doesn't get that much work with the guys. He gets some in a limited capacity, but he's gotten all the reps he can get mentally, and handling that quite well.
All things equal, I'm assuming health for all quarterbacks. Who do you see as number 2 behind Tua? Is it still Teddy?
Yeah, I mean Teddy's he's been number 2 from forever. We decided to start Skylar because we knew it was best for the team in terms of having the week to prepare and all of those things. So nothing's changed, and the team is the team really believes in all 3 quarterbacks. So that's one thing we've been fortunate that we've talked about since preseason is a luxury to have 3 quarterbacks at your disposal.
We've seen Tua change up some of his routine this year before games. Can you talk about when he's been out? Can you give us any insight into how he's prepared, maybe, even though he knows he's not going to play? Has he given you insight into what he's doing, maybe, to prepare for those mental reps?
I think it's when you commit to a process, the best thing when something throws, the biggest thing for him has been like being at football practice, being with his teammates, and going through the weekly process, because to get to where he's got to at the beginning of the season, you have to fully commit to that. Once you fully commit to that, it becomes a part of like what makes you feel whole during a week. So he, from a preparation standpoint, he's used this week to get reps. He knows that he's not playing in the game, but he's getting reps at preparing, and he also sees himself as a leader, which the whole team does, and the team needs him this week in terms of his spirit, his encouragement. Skylar needs his help, and he's also a captain of this team, so he's been very vocal. He was pushing us vocally yesterday at the start of team run, He was pushing the team, and so he's really assumed all the things that aren't football directly. He's assumed the same responsibility, which I commend him, and has residual effects because people are invested in Tua, and they don't want to let him down either. You know.
Like I have a Vikings question. For
Whoa!
you.
Slow clap.
Kirk Cousins.
Are you guys even going to the game? Like, what's going on? Okay.
Kirk Cousins hasn't been sacked a lot this year. Is it the protection, or maybe their weapons kind of dictate how aggressive teams can be when trying to get after him?
I think it is a little bit of both. Kevin O'Connell does a great job of making he's a quarterback at heart, and so the scheme that they employ gives the quarterback a lot of early options. I think it's a testament to their timing. Their protection is good. Don't get me wrong at all, but a lot of credit goes to Kirk Cousins too, because Kirk Cousins is what happens when you are fully prepared for your offensive game plan and what the opposing defense can present to you, is you can make decisions that are a quarter, a tenth of a second quicker because you've played the game in your mind. Well, in the National Football League, if you are passing the ball, that is an eternity. That's the difference in a sack or that's the difference in a strip fumble or an explosive completion. So, I was in Washington when we drafted Kirk. I know his preparation. He was a quick study and a professional from the get-go, and I've watched him persevere through, in both teams, good seasons from his team. Majority of all of his seasons have been good, but I've really watched him grow and progress. And he's a very, very good quarterback that thrives when people don't give him, when people overlook him. So we are definitely not overlooking him.
Mike, I also have a question related to the Vikings.
Man, hot 2 for 2. Let's go.
You just mentioned Kevin O'Connell, and a stat that probably only matters to me. This is first battle between two rookie coaches under 40, with the running record since the merger.
Only to you? And I can't believe everyone didn't know that. What? How do you look that up? I don't understand.
Somebody else smarter than me looked it up.
Okay, but you researched it and found it.
Yes. There's
Don't you guys wonder that? Don't you wonder, where does this, what?
Yeah. There's smarter people than me that know these things.
Legal network.
He's not even paying attention. He's already looking past to something else other than any opponent that we play.
So my question there is, I know you guys were both coaching in the NFC West. I'm curious what your relationship is with him and what you think about this matchup.
Oh, no, I have tremendous respect. Ironically, I believe at the time he was, he came after, I remember evaluating him coming out of college. Because I was young myself, and I think he was was he right around my age or something? But but he was coming out my when I was working in Houston. So I remember him coming out of San Diego State. Then, in 2014, I was receiver coach in Cleveland, and I remember him visiting. He visited Coach Pettin and our team. He was kind of, I think at the time, he was thinking about getting into coaching. So, when it's, I remember it vividly, him coming in, we were kind of just talking football and doing that kind of stuff. So, and then we both had gone through Washington as well. So there was a lot of overlap. Then obviously I know a lot of the guys at the Rams. So he's somebody I've known for a long time. We actually went to, there's some coaching symposiums that you get really anointed by your own team to go and, they're like future possible coordinators and head coaches. Had overlap with him there. So extensive relationship with the guy, know how detailed he is, know how players play for him. And, it doesn't surprise me that he's having the success that he's having at all. And he's significantly taller than me.
Mike,
Like a full head.
Frank Smith was optimistic that Austin Jackson would come off IR, be available Sunday. Is he still on pace for that? And is he your starting right tackle whenever he does return?
Now, see, what you guys are learning about Frank Smith is, he's overly optimistic to a fault. Okay, so he's I think that was a hair aggressive by one of my favorite people on staff. We're taking it day by day with him. I listen, Frank, don't just live in hope.
Speaking of Minnesota, what do you expect them to do to a rookie quarter? Try to do to a rookie? What have you seen through the years of how defenses go at rookie quarter?
It's generally different case by case with specific defensive coordinators in defense, and there's certain teams like the Vikings that you'll know that they'll come and approach it by playing their system. Sound systems like the one Ed runs with the players that they have all the bullets in the chamber to throw a quarterback off. To me, they're going to play their system and do what they feel is advantageous on each and every call. But the system in general is built to confuse quarterbacks. They generally start pre-snap in some. All of their defenses generally start out looking the same. They really immerse themselves into post-snap movement, meaning that if it's two shell at the during the cadence, that means nothing. Their whole system in general, to me, the starting point comes from not allowing quarterbacks to know what they're attacking. So I think they'll be very comfortable, confident, and deservedly so to just play their system the way they want to play it. And if they, within that, they pretty much have every answer as far as coverages and fronts to do whatever they want, or to attack the offense where they feel vulnerable, or if they're having any sort of issues, they have ways to plug those holes up. So
what's the most important thing for Skylar to keep in mind, knowing what you just said? Is it pre-snap? Is it once the ball is snapped? What's the most important way to handle it?
Well, the good news is it's a different presentation, so don't get it. I don't want to mislead, but that's also a philosophy of our defense. When that happens in a meeting with players, we always cough over it. So, there it is. Right, there it is. But so to answer your question, it's the inverse. A lot of times, what you see from our defense is single safety at the snap, but it's the same principality where they're doing multiple things on post-snap movement. So, it's like it's more so like preparing for all the opponents he's prepared for, where you have to get used to the new plays, the new formations, and calling all this stuff. But his introduction into the NFL has been he's got to go through his progressions, and he knows little to nothing before the snap, because in a different presentation but with the same philosophy, our defense gave him great work at that in the really since he's been here.
All right, what everyone really wants to know. Wednesday, you said the ping pong table was out to increase opponent prep.
What?
Yesterday, Tyreek Hill says it's all about just getting a new decked out ping pong table. It is my journalistic duty to come back to you and ask, what is the real story here?
Hey, I always defer. Listen, okay, it's the players' locker room, and the if they giveth, they can take it away, and they can re-giveth. I don't. That is their space. I just want them to be here at work as long as possible. If the story changes 14 times, I could care less, because that's I'm just doing my best to report the news. But at the end of the day, it's their space, and I'm happy that they if that is the truth, which if it changes, I could care just as much less. If it does change, good for them of upgrading their standards for ping pong play. Because nobody wants to be average, and you have an average just green table. Like, what's that about? So, I like the fact that they have all that stuff going on. It's hard to keep up, and in 2 days, who knows? Maybe for Tyreek it was punishment, and then he thought that his teammates deserved it, so he gave it back to him. Or this whole time he was just playing a ploy on all of us, all of which it's really not that meaningful to me. But I'm glad that they're getting all worked out down there. So because it is the captain's locker room, and he's one of the captains, so what he says goes to a degree.
Speaking of ploys, not saying that Tyreek's making any ploys or not, we don't know. Have you got used to Tyreek's ploys and maybe games that he plays sometimes?
Oh yeah, no, it's tremendous because I appreciate humor. I appreciate people coming to work every day with energy. The bottom line is with Tyreek is when he's in here, he's in his parking spot, he comes inside, everybody on the team, whether it's a player, coach, or football staff member, knows that he's going to get himself ready to go perform on the field. That's why he's so he's really held in high regard. Yes, the football play is awesome, but he's a captain and he is a leader because of everything else, and because he himself recognized that there's a responsibility to being who he is. There's a responsibility when you're signed to a big contract. There's a responsibility when you're a good player, and that's the thing that is never wavering, regardless of what's going on with ping pong tables or not. I have no idea what he's talking about with the stuff in the locker room, but I know one thing, that he's going to come on the field, and him and all of his teammates will know how, and myself included, will know how important all of this is to him, and he's one of the first guys to accept the challenge of coming to work and making losses right again.
On a more serious note, with Skylar, I know it's been a while, but what did you guys see in him when you drafted him, and maybe how is it translated having him 6 months from maybe what you initially expected?
Well, we were really excited to draft him. That was a target of ours that we had on our mind. We didn't have a plethora of draft selections, so it was easy to hone in on people, and we were targeting him for a long time. And that being said, he's exceeded expectations. But he also has lived up to expectations from his play. I didn't know how he prepared, and I didn't know how the moments aren't too big for him. I didn't know that part. Kind of guessed, but what you saw on tape was a guy that was super tough. A guy that, one of the things I look for a ton when you're watching quarterbacks is what is he making decisions on? Is he seeing defenders, or is he looking at receivers? There's a big difference, because you have guys running routes, and then are you staring at the routes and seeing if they're open, or are you looking at defenders? And when you look at defenders, you can anticipate and throw with timing, which maximizes yards after catch and explosiveness. So the way he saw the field, what he saw, and then his toughness, because you know when you're watching college tape that they're throwing from pockets that sometimes are muddy, sometimes are pretty clean. You know what the pockets look like in the National Football League, so they got to be able to stand in there and to a degree be fearless in their own way. And you saw that, and you saw how competitive he was. You know, all of those things, you know, are a pretty sound formula for a guy to be pretty solid in the NFL. And, you know, he's got an entire football team that's excited to play with him because of the stuff that we found out when he got here, which is that there's nothing more important than his preparation, and that when push comes to shove, if he has to make, if the read is telling him to make the hard play in a crucial moment, he'll go after the hard play. He won't take the path of least resistance. So that's one of the reasons you feel so confident with him, because of his teammates, you know, believe the same thing we do, and we'll go out there on Sunday and approach the team as a team, not a team with a rookie quarterback, just a team.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Okay.